Most of the important things in the world have been accomplished by the people who have kept on trying when there seemed to be no hope at all. Such a beautiful saying, isn't it, my dear students? You all are supposed to have hope and faith. Then it is really very easy to accomplish all the important things in the world. With this beautiful thought, a very good morning to all my dear students. I hope you all are in good health. I, Shreya Jadhav, welcome you all to my e learning channel. And today we are going to learn English, Grade 10, Poem 3, How to Tell Wild Animals, written by Caroline Wales. So let us know something about the poet. Caroline Wells, born on June 18, 1862, died March 26, 1994, 1942. Caroline was an American writer and poet. Caroline wrote a total 170 books. During the first 10 years of her career, she concentrated on poetry, humor, and children's book. Introduction for poem. In the poem, the poet has explained the characteristics of various wild animals in a very funny way. She has used language in the way that it generates humor. She is introducing the reader to various kinds of wild animals like Asian lion, Bengal tiger, bear, etc., explaining each one of the animals in a very humorous way. So now let us go through the introduction for answers. Poem. Poem's name, How to Tell Wild Animals. Poet's name, Caroline Wales. Genre, poetry. Summary. This humorous poem suggests some dangerous ways to identify wild animals. So now let us begin the explanation of the poem. If ever should go by chance to jungles in the east, and if there should you too advise a large and tawny beast. If he roars at you as you are dying, you will know it is Asian lion. So over here the poet is starting up with the poetry. Over here the poetess Caroline Wales has very humorously suggested some dangerous ways to identify the wild animals. She says that if by chance one is in the jungles, in the eastern side we can say, and if there comes an animal very close to you and roars very loudly, and you are so afraid that you feel that as if you are just going to die, then you are for sure, means you should know it really very well, that you have met an Asian lion. Over here the image is also put. So over here the poetess is identifying and telling us the description about the animals, how to recognize them well. In a very humorous way it is given over here. Over here the word tawny beast means yellowish brown in color. The second paragraph is, or if sometime when roaming around a noble beast greets you with black stripes on a yellow ground, just notice if he eats you. This simple rule may you learn the Bengal tiger to discern. So, in the second paragraph, the poetess is telling that sometimes if you are roaming somewhere and if you find a magnificent beast that is black and yellow in color, and just imagine if that creature eats you up, then you should see that how well he is. So, when you see a magnificent animal with black strips on its yellow hide, means the color of the body, and you feel it has come to greet you, but starts eating you, then this is a simple rule to keep in mind, that the animal is none other than the Bengal tiger. Over here, the meaning of discern means to recognize. Roaming means to move. The third paragraph. If strolling forth a beast you view, whose hide with spots is peppered, as soon as he leapt on you, you will know it is the leopard. 'Twill do no good to roar with pain. He will only leap and leap again. So over here you have this image, so you will come to know really very easily that we are talking about which animal over here. Yes, we are talking about leopard over here. So if you see an animal who has hide which looks it has been sprinkled with pepper and it leaps on you. Now sprinkled with pepper means what? Over here you can see in the image that the body is yellow and there are black little small spots. Okay, so sprinkled with pepper, and it leaps means it jumps on you. Even if you cry with pain, it is the leopard and it will keep on pouching on you. If you are walking around your backyard. So, the next paragraph. If, when you are walking around your yard, you meet a creature there who hugs you very, very hard, be sure it is a bear. If you have any doubts, I guess he will give you just one more caress. So over here, just imagine if you are walking around your backyard and in your garden or lawn sort of thing, and over there you meet one creature, and there is who he comes and he hugs you really very hard. Then make sure that it is a bear, and before you doubt to identify him, it will come and give you one tighter bear hug and finish you. Yes, because bear are really huge. So the bear will be hugging you so tightly that you may even die. The next paragraph is, though to distinguish beast of prey, a novice might nonplus, the crocodile you always may tell from the hyena thus. Hyenas come with merry smiles, but if they weep, they are crocodiles. So what is given over here? That there are some weird animals. You will be able to know a crocodile from a hyena because hyena makes a sound which is like human laughter. Okay, hyena laughs in that mannerism. So they have a very merry smile, like human beings they smile. Yes, the accent is like that. But that smile, that human laughter, while the crocodile sheds big tears while eating its prey, so don't be near either of them. So you cannot eventually identify the crocodile as well as hyena. They both are really clever. Why? What is the reason? Because whenever crocodile has hunted, they shed their tears, but at the end they eat their flesh. And the hyena is also in the same manner. It seems so that he is human being. Yes, why? Because we can be mistaken because of his laughter, but at the end you should not trust either of the animals. And the last paragraph is, the true chameleon is small, a lizard sort of thing. He hasn't any ears at all and not a single wing. If there is nothing on the tree, This the chameleon you see. So what is given over here? That a chameleon looks like a lizard, but it is good for camouflaging. The chameleon changes its color according to its surrounding. This is the characteristics which we all know. He has no ears and no wings. And if you are looking for it on the tree and trying to search one, and you can see nothing, then one can be sure that chameleon is there. If you cannot see anything on the tree, then you must be sure enough that there might be a chameleon. Why? Because it adjusts the skin type according to the surrounding. So it might be possible that the chameleon might have changed its color to the greeny leaf, or we can say to the wood, brown wood texture. So over here the poetess has identified or has given us plenty of clues of how the wild animals could be known. So now let us move ahead with figures of speech of the poetry. The first one, if ever should go by chance to jungles in the east. Over here the first figure of speech is metonymy. Over here the words jungles of east represents some countries in Asia and where the lions are found. So over here we can say that this is metonymy. And you can also remember this like this, that an attribute or a thing which is closely related to each other. So over here we can see that we have jungles of east and we have some countries of Asia. The next figure of speech is, and if there should to you advance a large and tawny beast. So over here the figure of speech is metonymy, because over here the word large and tawny beast represents the lion. So over here we can see that the attribute is related to one another. The next one, if he roars at you as you are dying, you will know it is Asian lion. So over here the first figure of speech is onomatopoeia. Now you know that there are usage of words which produce some sort of sound. So over here that sound is roars. So this means onomatopoeia. The next one is repetition. Over here the words are being repeated. So you is being repeated. The next figure of speech is, if when you are walking round your yard you meet a creature there. So the first figure of speech is alliteration. So the consonant sound R is being repeated in the words like roaming and round. So this becomes alliteration, that sound R is being repeated. The next one is oxymoron. So what is oxymoron? It is a special kind of antithesis where two contradictory or opposite words are united to give some sort of special expression. So over here those opposite words are noble and wild, have been used together to give a new meaning, that to the tiger, that he is really magnificent but he is also a wild animal. Next one is personification. Now when any human quality is given to non-living object or inanimate object, it is considered as personification. So over here the tiger is given human quality of greeting. The next one, with black stripes on yellow ground, just notice if he eats you. So the first figure of speech over here is metaphor. So what is metaphor? There is indirect comparison made between whom? Between the hide of tiger and the ground. Now hide means the skin. The coating, that is also yellow, and the ground is also, means we can say, no, texture is yellow it is. So the point of comparison over here is the background. The next one is irony. What do irony stands for? The real meaning is exactly opposite to what it is conveyed. So how can one notice that it is given? No, just notice if he eats you. Now for example, if we are being eaten by the tiger, then it is not possible for any human being to observe or watch. So this is irony. The next figure of speech is, this simple rule may help you learn the Bengal tiger to discern. So over here the first figure of speech is anastrophe. Now what do you mean by anastrophe? There is an inversion in construction of sentence. It is put up in a jumble format. The next one is internal rhyme. Over here the words are being rhymed in the same sentence. So over here we have words like learn and discern. So they are rhyming words and they are used in one single line. So this becomes internal rhyme. The next figure of speech is, if strolling forth a beast you view, whose hide with spots is peppered. So the figure of speech over here is anastrophe. Why anastrophe? Because there is inversion in construction of the sentence, which means the sentence is being written in a jumble format so that there is a poetic effect or humor created. The next one is metaphor. So over here there is a direct comparison made between the leopard and some sprayed with pepper dish. Okay, so over here the skin of leopard is being compared with some dish and there is no sprinkling of pepper being done. So over here the point of comparison becomes the black dot. The next one is, as soon as he has leapt on you, you will know it is the leopard. So over here the first figure of speech is repetition, when words are being repeated. So over here you is being repeated. The next one is alliteration. So over here the consonant sound H is being repeated in the words like he and has, and the word L is being repeated in leapt and leopard. So this becomes alliteration. The next one is, 'twill do no good to roar with pain, he will only leap and leap again. So over here the first figure of speech is internal rhyme. So over here the rhyming words are pain and again, and they are written in the same sentence. The next one is repetition. The words are being repeated, that is leap. And over here the third figure of speech that becomes, it is litotes. Why litotes? Because over here no, a negative word, no, not, never, are being used to convey a positive meaning. So this will become litotes. 10th one, if when you are walking around your yard, you meet a creature there. So the first one is anastrophe, inversion in construction of the sentence. It is written in jumble format. Next one is repetition. Over here the word you is being repeated. Next one is alliteration. Over here the consonant sound Y is being repeated in you and yard. And then we have W, which is being repeated in the words like when and walking. The next one is, who hugs you very, very hard, be sure it is a bear. The first one is personification. Why? Because bear, an animal, is given a human quality of hugging. The next one is repetition, because word very is being repeated. The next one is alliteration. That is, the consonant sound H is been repeated in hugs and hard. HH is been repeated. The next one is, if you have any doubts, I guess he will give you just one more caresses. The first one is personification. So over here the bear is given human quality of caressing. The next one is repetition. So over here the word you is being repeated. And the third one is alliteration. That means the consonant sound G is being repeated in give and guess. The next one is though, to distinguish beasts of prey. A no voice might nonplus. So over here anastrophe, it means inversion in the construction of sentence. The sentence is in jumble part for the poetic effect. The next one is alliteration, because the consonant sound N is being repeated in the words like novice and no nonplus, NN. The next one is the crocodile. You always may tell from the hyena thus. So over here we have again anastrophe, that is inversion in the construction of sentence. Then the next one is hyenas come with merry smiles, but if they weep, they are crocodiles. So over here the first figure of speech is personification. Why? Because hyenas are given human quality or trait of smiling and weeping. The next one is metaphor. There is an indirect comparison made between hyena and crocodile. And over here, what is a point of comparison? Why they are similar or where they are similar? Because of their weeping big tears. Next one is transferred epithet. So over here, the word merry has been transferred from the hyena to the smiles with which they are connected. And then we have the last figure of speech, that is antithesis. So over here we have the opposite words used, like smile and weep. They are opposite, but they are used for poetic effect. The next one is the true chameleon is small, a lizard sort of thing. So over here we have metaphor. There is an indirect comparison made between the chameleon and lizard. And the point of comparison, that they are creepy traits. The next one is he hasn't any ears at all. So over here the figure of speech is litotes. Why litotes? Because not is being mentioned and not conveys a positive meaning. So this will become litotes. And the next one is a synecdoche. Over here synecdoche means a part ears or ears stands for the whole chameleon. But instead of writing the name, they have just written ears. The last figure of speech is of there is nothing on the tree. This the chameleon you see. The first figure of speech over here is litotes. Nothing is used to convey a positive meaning. So this will become litotes. The next one is alliteration. It means the consonant sound TH is being repeated in the words like there and the. So this becomes alliteration. And then T sound or T sound is being repeated in trees and this. The next one is internal rhyme. Over here rhyming words tree and sea are being used together for the same rhyming pattern. And the last one is repetition. Over here the word the is being repeated for poetic effect. So this becomes repetition. So dear students, this is all about the explanation of the poetry as well as the figures of speech. This poem is really very easy and simple to learn. I hope you all have understood the meaning and the explanation of it. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. If you still find any doubt or any queries, you can comment down in the comment section. Thank you for watching.